again on the On Air Book Club. Now, we have another interesting piece that's been presented to us today, and the name of the book is Own Your Stuff. Own Your Stuff. I wonder about the author of this particular book because, before you title something Own Your Stuff, you have to have figured out a way to thrive in a particular field. You have to have figured out a way to put into words things that you had to do to be able to own your own stuff. And today we have the author Olufisayo Odebode joining us. Let me tell you a little bit about who she is. Just one technical minute before we begin. Okay. And we're good. All right, fantastic. So, our guest for today is an amazing worship leader. And as soon as I met her, there were some people around who said, "Oh, is that her? Is that Fisayo Check? Is that her? Is that her?" They were so excited, and I just wanted to learn a lot more about her. I wanted to, maybe pick her brain a little. Now, she's a worship leader as well as a writer, author, and she's also a social entrepreneur. She's deeply passionate about rebuilding broken communities, restoring connections through her music, her lifestyle, and inspired ideas. Now, she founded Check House with a mission to promote self-reliance through empowerment programs and the business of music, as well as other social innovations. She's a teacher by training. We love teachers on the On Air Book Club. She has a bachelor's in English education from OAU ile-ife, and she also graduated in 2021 in worship ministry, one of the highest honors from Bethel Music College in Redding, California. It's great to have you with us, Olufisayo Odebode.
Thank you
Welcome.
so much.
Thank you so much for joining us. All right, so you need to let us in on how the whole idea of putting a book together came to be, because we know you to be a music minister. We know how it is when that voice comes to life, but putting pen to paper, not so much. So tell us that story.
So I'm a writer, writing music is not the only thing that I do. I started off writing poems and the likes of that. So I enjoy writing, and it's one of the things that was very noticeable while I was on my training at Bethel Music College. The fact that I would write music and whatever topic it was that we're supposed to discuss, I would just write, gladly write and joyfully write. So it's a way that I express myself to myself and also to people around me. I feel like sometimes I prefer to write than to talk. I'm one of those people that would rather chat than make phone calls, So I enjoy writing. And even though this is my first book, I've started one or two other books before now. This is the first one that I am completing, and I guess it was more personal to me. It was me documenting some of my life experiences, and while journaling all of that, it just turned into a book, and I was like, hey, we have got to take responsibility and take ownership of our lives, irrespective of the things that we have gone through, in spite of all the challenges that we've had to go through. That's really what people want to hear. They want to connect with your story. And so I just thought, hey, let's do this. Let's make this a book, and let's try and inspire other people with our stories. And here I am, Titi. I'm excited I was able to complete this one. Um, I believe I'm going to write many more after this. This was a journey for me. It started as a vision, and here it is.
Mm. A journey for you started off as a vision, and here you are. Indeed, here you are. You have a book of, I believe it's 7 chapters, and 7 chapters about who or about what? What exactly did you decide to theme your book around? Now, Own Your Stuff does tend to have a little, it's I don't want to use the word ambiguous, but it could go in any direction. Meaning you could be writing about any number of things. For someone who's walking past a bookshelf and sees your book, what can they expect?
They can expect inspiration. Like I said, this book is about self-leadership. Getting, leaving that passenger seat and getting, in charge of what goes on in your life. So it's about taking ownership of your life. And so I've detailed, several things in the 7 chapters. I started with um, a close look at you. And that chapter is basically talking about self-discovery. It's talking about having a great interpersonal relationship with yourself. Because before you can take ownership of your life, you've got to have a good relationship with yourself. Have a better sense of who you are, a matured sense of who you are, so that you are able to set realistic goals for yourself, know what triggers you, know what makes you excited, know what makes you more productive as a person. But if you do not have a great relationship with yourself, you will still lie to yourself. You are not going to be realistic with yourself. You're not going to be honest with yourself. And so that's what I've tried to achieve with the first chapter. The second chapter talks about ditching old habits, and I focused mainly on quitting the blame game. We have so many people who have blamed their lack of success, their lack of progress on so many things. And while their points might be valid and some of these experiences might be valid, you have got to understand that you do not determine what life throws at you. And that's almost like, my go-to statement these days, because it's just a statement of fact. You do not determine the family that you are born in. You do not determine the country that you are born in. You do not determine the environment. You do not determine the systems that you live by. You do not determine so many things. But at the end of the day, you have an opportunity to chart a course for your life in spite of all of these things that you have been born into. And so many people have lived a life where they have blamed every other person, even when they experienced even at the workplace. Let me just put it that way. Even at the workplace, even when they are actually expected to deliver, and they make mistakes, they do not own up to their own mistakes. They do not take responsibility for their own actions. It's always about what somebody else has done. It's always about what their parents did to them. And why these things might be very valid. You can't take away people's challenges, people's experiences, what they've had to overcome over the years. You can't take that away from them. But it is not always about what has happened and what people have done to you and what their part is in your own journey, but also about what you have done, because as an adult, you do not have any excuse anymore. Now the past is in the past. You have to now channel a course. You have to charter a course for your own life. And so I took that chapter to detail how you can embrace a better habit of taking responsibility for your own actions and taking responsibility for your own life. And then the third chapter, letting go of the past. This is where I also talked about, my own story, how I was molested as a child, although I didn't go into so much details with that because I do not want to give perpetrators any kind of sense of accomplishment. But I use that story to say, hey, guys, things might have been messy at the beginning, but you have got to let go of the past. If you want to move forward with your life, if you want to achieve anything in life, you have got to be able to forgive yourself, forgive the people who have offended you, forgive the situations that you have found yourself in over time, and then now say, this is how I want to do things moving forward. It helps you build a better environment, help you build a better family, a better community, and just makes life a better place for you and for those around you. And so that chapter is about forgiveness, is about letting go of the past, and then seeing way forward with your life. And then I moved on to managing rejection. This is a very, very difficult topic to go head on with, because you will definitely get no, and it can be very damaging. It can be very hurtful. It can be very painful to hear no over and over and over again, to work so hard, and then you just get to that road and it's completely blocked and shut at you. But the truth is, that is what life is about. You can't always get all the yeses. You must be ready to receive no's. You must be ready to be challenged. You must be ready to encounter challenges that would make you feel like, hey, you are not getting it right. That will make you feel like, hey, you are not doing so good. And what happens is that you have to learn to manage these rejections, because if you do not learn to manage them, they are going to make you a whole mess. They are going to make you depressed, feel like feel less of an achiever, feel like you are not capable, you are not enough, all of these things. I detailed in that chapter how to manage rejection. I think I gave 5 tips in that chapter on managing rejection. And then I went ahead from there to talk about vision. In the chapter, what do you see? What I try to detail there is after all of this has happened, after you have now known, okay, how to manage rejection, hey, you are putting the past in the past. Now you want to move forward with your life. How do you do that? You have got to have a vision, develop a vision for yourself and for your life. And I kind of gave some examples in that chapter, what a vision looks like. You might not be able to write a professional one as at now, because you don't know how to. But you must start with what you see for your life, what you see in your community. And then I went on from that chapter to talk about, posture. What is your posture? The posture that you maintain sometimes determine how much help that you get from people around you. If you do not have a good posture, you might chase people around you. You might chase your helpers away because you are not humble, you are not grateful, and just so many other. I think I talked about at least three postures in that chapter. I'm not sure anymore, but at least 3 postures in that chapter. And then be of good courage, which is the last chapter, where I just kind of encourage the readers at the end of the book to keep their gaze. I think I used the example of what a soldier does. They receive instructions, they stand at attention, and they are focused ahead. They just want to serve. They just want to do what the next mission is. And then I say, hey, no matter what happens, make sure that you remain focused. Make sure that your eyes are on the goal, on the promise, on the end. And so that's about the book in a summary. I hope I did a great
Thank
job,
you.
Titi.
Okay, you've done a very concise, honestly, a really great job of putting us into your world. And it feels like there's a story behind why you felt the need to put this book together. It feels like the story that you haven't told us yet. Is the kind of story that you probably put in your prologue or your epilogue of your book, the foreword of your book? Tell us who encouraged you, how long it took, and what sort of challenges you went through putting this book together.
Oh my God. I've got so many stories, Titilayo. So many stories. But what I did, I told you I started this book off by just documenting some of my life experiences. And what I did was to select a few. Um, there are many, many dark stories that I could share, but I'm going to focus on some of the ones that I've shared in this particular book, On Your Stuff. I shared my health journey. I shared my educational journey and a little bit about how I was molested by some of the people who were supposed to actually be the ones protecting me as a child. Um, Relatives, family, friends, older ones, of course. I'm grateful for my journey. But these are some of the stories that have made me. because for so many years I lived in unforgiveness towards certain people. I've had to get counsel, and I'm so grateful for my journey, that I've healed a lot. It's a thing of the past now, but the truth is, the story never leaves. The impact is there. Um, so you forgive, but sometimes it's difficult to forget. There are people who have experienced worse than I have. But, like I said in the book, you do not determine the impact that someone's life experience has on them. So my own story might not be as tough as some other people. Some people have been raped, they have gone through like hell. But the impact on a person is what makes the difference. The impact on a person. One of the stories that I dwelled on the most was my story of my educational journey, how it took me about 10 years to get my degree. My bachelor's degree that should have lasted just 4 years.
10 years, you say?
Yeah, it
10
took me
years.
about 10 years.
Wow.
And one of the reasons, or the major reasons, was my health journey. I think I had two major health issues, one that lasted about 6 months and one that lasted about 11 months. So altogether, let's say 17 months. And there was a communication gap between myself and the school. And even when communication was well established and they tried to help me, at some point, I was tired, when you go through that kind of health issue, sometimes you just feel like you're just grateful for life, if you know what I mean. You're just excited that you're alive. And you just want to take things easy. And so for me, I schooled you know at Obafemi Awolowo University, which is quite a distance from here in Lagos State. And I just wanted to get a little source of income and just get life moving just a little bit. I felt like I was stuck. And so for me, that was kind of my priority. When everyone would think, hey, you need to get back to school and get your clearance done and then go and serve and then get a job. I left my father's house because I wasn't sure that I was getting the help that I needed, medically, emotionally. And so I wanted to just be in a safe place. My dad is amazing, but at that time, I didn't feel safe in the house. I didn't feel like I was getting the care that I needed, and I was not well. I was not well. And so I moved in with a family friend, and from there, I was able to get medical help. I was going to the hospital and all of that. It was easier for me to get medication and all of that from there. By the way, this was the second time that I was sick, and for like 5 months, they couldn't really tell what was going on. So I was in and out of the hospital. It was typhoid today. It was recurring malaria tomorrow. It was low blood, whatever today. So series of tests, and then before they now realized that I had cock disease, which is tuberculosis. And so I had to start another journey of 6 months because in order to get the proper therapy for that, it's going to take about 6 months. And so I was so lean. I mean, like if a trailer or a bus or a car should pass by me, like I described in my book, it's going to leave me like a piece of cloth, like hanging. That's almost how I feel. So sometimes I would have to get people carry me, because I just couldn't walk. Like I couldn't walk 10 meters without help. I was very lean. I was almost lifeless. So unfortunately, the health sector is not as is not where it should be. Let me just put it that way, because I feel like maybe I don't know if it was while I was going for checkup and going for medical tests and all of that I caught the cock disease. I don't know, or maybe it had been there that they just didn't know. I don't know, but it was until the 5th month. And thankfully, they discovered. And my test, it came out at 3 plus plus, as in that was the highest, So it was, everyone was like, hey, girl, what's going on? Like, you need to get, medication fast. You need to get your therapy fast and all of that. And it's so scary because once you start your treatment, the first thing they show you is the file and the documents of people who have died from the disease. I don't know if it's to motivate you or to scare you, but they show you that, to let you know, hey, you need to take your medication seriously because anything could just go wrong here. And so that was one of the lowest moments of my life because it was a test of my faith. I was really confused about everything. I was like, it took this long to realize that I had this, and then I'm still going to be on another 6 months journey of taking medication every single day. And in between that, I had a surgery again. I had a surgery, passed out after surgery like 2 or 3 times because, I was on medication for something. I can't say that I had enough blood in me, and I had to do a surgery, though minor, but I think it was too much pressure, stress on my body, and on my health, seeing that I was just coming from a disease that,
Therapy.
yes, yeah. So I, during the 6 months of my medication, I had that surgery. um but I'm grateful that I responded very well to treatment, both for the surgery and for tuberculosis. And everyone was like, hey, just stay with your treatment and then you'll be
God is
fine.
good.
Yeah. So I'm grateful for that. But what happened was, after that, it was difficult for me to go back to school to get myself cleared because I was tired. I was very
I
tired.
can only
I
imagine.
I was stressed and I just wanted to take life easy. And so that was where I went back to the teenage empowerment program that I used to do. I was like, hey, this is making me happy. This is making me feel like I'm achieving something. I'm feeling fulfilled. I think that was the happiest thing that I'm getting a little emotional and I want to hold back my tears. So just give me a second.
No, it's fine. Just breathe. Just breathe. Just breathe. Just breathe. God is good all the time.
Yeah.
God is good all the time. You have
So
you
I think
have
that
a
was
purpose,
the
and that purpose is probably to inspire or to help someone else on a similar journey. And you have done the amazing thing of putting everything into a book. You put everything in writing, and it's because you're alive here and well and thriving that you're able to sing and you're able to put all this into a book. Please, if you need to shed a few tears, you have every right to. You are a survivor. You are an enigma. You made it. You are
yeah.
alive and
Thank
well,
you.
and you have this
Thank you for saying that.
amazing book, and you are owning your story. So now I get the reason why you labeled or you named this book Own Your Stuff. Now I get it. Now I get it. There's no shortcut to living a successful life. You cannot afford to be passive or to always choose what's most convenient. You've got to consider the actions or inactions and that they have consequences. This book is a practical guide to getting more involved in your life, putting in the work that life requires, and making excellent choices. This is your call to rise up. I love it. I love it. Thank you so much for sharing this story with us. Thank you so, so much. I know that there's still a lot more that went into putting this book together. Before you get too emotional, talk to us about some of the research you had to do to put this together.
Yeah. I think the greatest source of the book, of course, is my story.
Mm,
Um,
sure, sure.
and not going deep into the story anymore, focusing
Mm,
on the research, but I think I had to cast my mind back, and actually intentionally document some experiences, like that of the school, which is where I was going to, with my health, because eventually I had to go back to clear myself. And that was a whole, like, wild experience with educational system again in Nigeria. And I had to encounter some lecturers, especially a particular one that I detailed in the book, and how dramatic and how fearful and that she was, and how difficult it was for me to be able to break through to her and get my results out. So I had to intentionally sit down and cast my mind back and write out some of this story. Not so much of all the details, because you don't want to include people's names, people that you are forgiven, people that you now have a better relationship with. You don't want to soil, their image. So the intent of the book is not to make anybody feel like, hey, they've done bad, but they also have to own their part of the stories. But it's not for me to tell them to own their part. But so that means that I am not apologetic about detailing some of the things that they did to me. That I didn't get into so much of it might just be because, hey, there is no need for that. But I'm not apologetic for doing that. And so that's what I had to do. Then number two is I've read some books on leadership, so I had to go back to some of them. I had to read a lot about leadership, about self-regulation, about rejection, because I really, really felt like I needed to write on that topic, even though I had, taught on rejection a while back, and I had written like a blog. It's just a little story about rejection that I put on my social media and on some blogs, managing rejection. I don't know if I've taken it down, but so I've had to do some research on rejection, and the effect of rejection on the average person. So I did some research on that. Some of my role models, one of my role models is Dr. Sam Adeyemi. He's my mentor and he's also my pastor. So I've had to cast my mind back to some of the things that he has taught me on leadership. He's a doctor of strategic leadership, and that's his specialty. And so I had to go back to some of the things that he has taught me. Some of the things I've learned in business, Daystar Leadership Academy, Daystar Business Academy. I had to I had to go back to that and see, hey, how does this come into my story and some of the things that I'm, and what that helped me, because you cannot copy what is in somebody else's material. But what that helped me to do is they validated my ideas. You don't want to write and just feel like everything is vague. You want to be sure that people are also saying what you are saying. And that doesn't mean that you cannot have something unique. But there is no new knowledge. There is no new idea. See, we are innovating. Do you understand? So
there's
when
nothing
you have
new under the sun.
exactly, and like I said in the book, there is even your own experiences. There is challenges are common to man. They are common to men. They are common to human beings. And so what happens is once I start to highlight my points about the topics, I go and read some of the books that I've read before and see, hey, what were they saying about this? And if you see at the end, I had to write some resource materials for people that they can go to, because some of those books helped me a lot. They validated my ideas. They validated my my tips, because I say, hey, now I see Tim Lahai was saying something like this, so I'm not alone.
No.
Yes, what I'm saying is true, is valid, it's important. Oh, Dr. Sam Adeyemi said this. Dr. Nike Adeyemi said this as well. And I was able to quote some of them in the book. I quoted some of them in the book. But even when I did not, they came as a validation for me that I have my thoughts in order. I have my message in order.
Yes, you
So
do.
those are some of the things that I did, and I also engaged people in conversations, and I had some friends review the book to be able to tell me what do they think about this,
Mm.
and that was really helpful for me, and that's why I put some of the reviews in the book.
I have to say a big thank you to you for coming to share your journey with us, and thank you so much for sharing that really intimate part of your story. And it does feel like there's someone out there that's going to watch this or listen to this, that needed to hear it, who needed to understand that it's important to be grateful for what you have, what you've been given, that second chance, that second lease on life. And also now you've added this, added, okay, you know, when they say the blessing of Sarah, you know, Sarah was elderly when she received the blessing. Um, and there are so many women right now who are looking for children and they are not even middle aged. But if God could do it for Sarah, then why can't God do it for you? If you could spend 10 years, but then still get your degree, there's someone probably thinking about their story of 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, thinking, oh my goodness, if she could do it in 10 years and she still came out and she's still thriving and she's still been able to succeed and do well, then don't worry, God is going to do it for me too. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us.
Thank
Uh,
you.
the On Air Book Club was talking about Own Your Stuff, written by Olufisayo Odebode. Thank you so much for joining
Thank
us.
you for having me, Titilayo. I had a great time. Thank you.
It's available on Amazon, yes? It's available
Yes,
on
it is on
Amazon.
Amazon. Yeah.
Let me just
And
search on,
that's for the international community.
yeah,
But
yeah,
for people who are here in Nigeria, I think if they go to my social media handle, they can use the link in the
they
bio
get
to
it.
just order their copies.
Okay, all right.
But it's available anywhere in the world on Amazon.
Wow, I'm gonna check it out now. I'm trying to see if I can find the link so I can put the link right there.
Yeah.
Uh, Own Your Stuff. I'll find
Olufisayo.
it. Okay, Olufisayo. Yeah. Okay, I hope I can find it. Oh, internet, do not fail me now. Got it. Fantastic. So
Yeah.
let's show everyone what it looks like right here from Amazon.com. Wonderful. Okay, so that's it. That's it. The practical guide to self-help, or rather to self-leadership, taking ownership of your life. It's $13 and it does ship to Nigeria. And
Yeah.
yeah, the international community can yeah, that's it right there. Fantastic. You can grab your own copy as soon as you can. It's got 5 stars here. Wow, interesting. Okay,
Yeah.
all right. All right. So I'm appreciating you once again for coming to share your journey with us.
Thank
Thank you so,
you.
so
Thank you
much.
so
And
much.
we can always reach you on LinkedIn. It's the same name on LinkedIn,
Yeah.
yes?
Olufisayo
All
Odebode,
right.
yes, in LinkedIn.
All right. Fantastic. All right, then. Thank you so, so much for joining us.
Thank you.
The On Air Book Club loves books. We love books. And this word love is sometimes used lightly, you know, but we love to read and then proceed to read some more. If you would like to be on the On Air Book Club with us, you can always send your book to us as soon as you're able to. All you need to do is send us an email. It's very simple. Dynamite Podcast Network at gmail.com. That's Dynamite Podcast Network at gmail.com. And we will do what we can to book you in as soon as possible. Now, we have a team of young producers who support the podcast and send over guests to us all the time. And there is nothing stopping you from sharing your story. Fisayo shared her story, and she did an amazing job of doing so, putting it in a book so that other people could learn from it and maybe share that information with friends and family members around them. You never know. All right, then. I'll be seeing you again very soon. Make sure you subscribe follow, join, click the bell, all those platforms, talking YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter. Make sure you make it a date with us. Till next time. Once again, my name is Titila Oniso. Thanks for listening.